My friends, this is another time that I want to explain to you about helicopter. So many of you, maybe you want to become pilots who are flying helicopters, or you are already flying an helicopter, you are a pilot and you are flying an helicopter, or you are a student, or you are intending to become a student who is going to fly helicopters. So today I want to explain to you about the factors which are affecting the performance of helicopters. There are many factors, almost more than 7, which are affecting the performance of the helicopter. So that's why today I want to explain to you so that you can be able to know. In case you are now flying as a pilot for the helicopters, like now it is election time, whereby in Kenya now, many politicians are now going to use helicopters. In Uganda, election is coming, they are going to use helicopters. In Malawi, election is coming, they are using helicopters. Not only here in African countries, many other countries in the whole world, they use helicopters to fly from one place to another. So today I want to explain to you about the factors which are affecting the helicopters' performance in our continent in Africa and also in the whole world, either in the Middle East, in Europe, in America, any other country in this world. So I want to explain to you, all my fans, all my subscribers, so that you can be able to know about these factors which are affecting the helicopter's performances. So I want you to listen very well. I will be able to give a list of all of them and I will be able to explain one by one. Okay, thank you and most welcome. So factor number 1, it is density altitude. That's number 1. Number 2, it is weight. Number 3, it is wind. Number 4 is engine power. Number 5 is ground effect. Number 6 is terrain. Number 7 is weather condition. Number 8 is blade design. Number 9 is pilot skills. Let me repeat. I've said number 1 is density altitude. Number 2 is weight. Number 3 is wind. Number 4 is engine power. Number 5 is blade design. Number 6 is ground effect. Number 7 is terrain. Number 8 is weather conditions. Number 9 is pilot skills. So I want to explain one by one so that we can be able to know about these factors that I've given you, how they are affecting the performance of helicopter. So I want you to be very careful and also very keen when listening so that you can be able to understand about these factors which are affecting the helicopter's performance. So we want to see under density altitude. Many of you learn this word in geography, whereby you learn about density. So when we talk about when the pilot for helicopter is flying high, especially in high altitudes, if it's now changing the altitude while climbing, so we normally say in aviation that as the altitude increases, then the air density decreases, then reducing the lift which is supposed to be generated. So once the lift which is supposed to be generated is reduced, then it will impact the performance of this aircraft. Remember, also we have in higher temperatures. Those higher temperatures also, they contribute to higher density, whereby they contribute to this higher density. Therefore, in this altitude, they also affect the performance of this helicopter. So I've explained about density, altitude. So that's why mostly in high altitudes, helicopters, they don't perform very well, but they perform very well in low altitudes, because the air density mostly reduces when we increase the altitude. So as higher you go, the air density decreases. So this will be able to affect the performance of the helicopter directly. We want to go to number 2. Number 2 is what we call weight. Many of you learned about weight. So if the helicopter that you are now flying is heavier, if it is heavy, then it requires what we call, it requires high power to maintain the flight. So if the helicopter, this helicopter is heavier, then it requires more power so that you can be able to maintain the flight. And also, this might be able to reduce its maneuvering and also the ability to perform very well if the weight of this helicopter is not in a good condition to help you to maintain that flight. So the weight of the helicopter is also a major factor. So be very careful on that point. Another factor, which is number 3, is what we call wind. So we want to see about wind. So when we talk about wind, here in helicopter performance, we talk about headwind. So headwinds, they provide what we call additional, they provide additional lift. I'm talking about the headwind. Example, maybe the wind is blowing from west and the helicopter is flying from the east part. So wind is blowing from east, but the helicopter pilot is flying from the west. So the headwind, it will be able to improve, or it will be able to create what we call additional lift, which is good. But it will improve the performance of this helicopter, which is good also. But we have what we call the tailwind. So we have the headwind and we have the tailwind. So the tailwind, they will reduce this lift. Headwind is increasing the lift, but the tailwind is reducing the lift. And if it is reducing the lift, then it will be able to impact the control. It can be able to negatively affect the control of this aircraft, and it can be able even to crash. So that's why you need to be very, very, very keen if you are a pilot who is flying these helicopters, or if you are intending to become a student in the future to fly these helicopters. You must be very careful on these points. Also, number 4, we want to talk about engine power. The engine power of the helicopter. Okay, so under this engine power, you need to know about the power which is available from the engine. It can be able to affect the lift which is being produced by the rotor blades. So, meaning it will be able to impact the helicopter ability to climb, to hover, and also to accelerate. So, if the power of the engine of the helicopter is very low, or is not in a good condition, then it is going to affect this aircraft, especially when climbing and also even the time of accelerating. We want to see factor number 6, blade design. the design of those blades which are now rotating on the helicopter. So under this blade design, we talk about the shape, and also the pitch angle of the rotor blades. So this design and also the angle, if it is not made in a good way or in a proper angle, then the lift which is generated and also stability will be impacted, meaning it will be able to be affected. So the helicopter will not be stable. The lift which is supposed to be generated, it will not be in a good amount, then it will be a very big problem. Even this helicopter might be able to crash and it can be able to kill people. Let's go to number 6. Number 6 is called ground effect. Now, under ground effect, especially when the pilot is flying close to the ground, okay, the air is compressed in a way that it provides additional lift. So the time the pilot is approaching or maybe is flying close to the ground, it must be very keen, because on the ground or near the ground, the air is compressed. Once it is compressed, then it will be able to provide additional lift, which will be able to affect this aircraft if it's not very keen when it comes to control. Number 7, we want to talk about terrain. Under terrain, if you are flying over uneven terrain, especially in some mountains, it can be able to affect the stability of this helicopter and also the control of this helicopter. So be very careful about flying over these areas, because it will be able to affect you. So we normally call them, if you are flying over uneven terrain, it can affect stability and the control of this helicopter that you are flying. Number 8 is weather conditions. Weather condition is a major factor, not only for helicopters, but also other aircrafts. So weather condition, we want to talk about turbulence. We want to talk about icing. We want to talk about high humidity. All these can be able to, can significantly affect the helicopter performance, which is a very big problem. So if we have high humidity, if we have icing, especially like in the Middle East and also the Asian countries, they experience ice problem. That ice normally affects the performance of the helicopter. Lastly, we want to talk about pilot skills. So there is what we call proper pilot techniques, which they are being trained in class. These skills or these techniques, they're the one they are being trained in class to know how to control this helicopter, whereby we may be able to have a crash because of an error, because we have what we call human error. Human error, that's why this knowledge is covered in human factors, whereby it is explaining all this about human error. So these pilot skills or this technique can optimize the performance of different conditions. So that's why we are now saying there are some of the conditions whereby the proper techniques of this pilot can be able to help him to fly this helicopter very well. And if he cannot be able to use those skills very well, then he might be able to end up maybe making an error and also causing an accident. So those are the factors which are affecting a helicopter's performance. If there is any factor that I've forgotten and I didn't mention here, I request you give a comment there so that we can be able to educate each other. The main purpose of this video, it is to educate you, to give you these points so that you can be able to know the factors which are affecting performance of the helicopters. So for those pilot students and also for those pilots who are flying helicopters, If you come across my video, please watch and also leave a comment. You can also give the skills, the challenges you've been facing while flying these helicopters. So thank you very much. And also, I will also drop another video some days from now. I will also drop another video concerning the same. But if my video was very nice to you, give me a like and also subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you very much. May God bless you.